So some of the things we've done in the last 2 years is a wearables class. This one was called Space Invaders Pendants. And the idea is that it's a little matrix LED that's run by a little kind of cut down version of the Arduino that people could solder up, program, and then actually wear. It had a little bit of really kind of interesting skill sets because you had to do a little bit of coding. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner here, there's a young man actually working out which lights to turn on the pendant, and then by actually stringing the 10 different designs together, these things would actually move. So as you're wearing it, it wasn't a static display. It would actually animate as it's going on. These things were also used a rechargeable battery, so we were using different circuits and explaining to people what that actually meant. And that's our children's librarian, Catherine Scott, in the corner, modeling this pendant, which is still sitting and going at a desk a year and a half later. It's very cool. Another thing we did was Robocards. I don't know, anyone familiar with the idea of a robot card or anything like that? Great one, cool. So Robocards is just basic electronic theory for children. Doing it quickly and easily for the kids to actually explore and have an idea about. In this case, we were using some conductive paint to actually be able to make the circuit. We've changed that up a little bit now. We use copper tape just because it's a lot faster to get the result. We found out the hard way that the conductive paint has to be dry before it actually conducts. And some children, children want it all now. And that's definitely was an interesting experience, but we've been able to work with that. One of the most amazing things that I experienced out of this was actually explain to children how electricity works. And I was like, how do I explain this? And I came up with this whole analogy of a mountain. And, high, low, positive, negative. And just the way the water flows down the mountain, you've got positive that goes to negative. And to my surprise, about 7 months later, we did this again. And some of the kids were in there. And I said, does anyone know how electricity works? And 4 hands shot up and said, yeah, mountain. It's high, low. I was like, wow. And that's, again, such a great example of taking knowledge and integrating it in a way that these children now know just basic principles to be able to go out in the real world and explore things. Really, really, I love working with the children on this stuff because their imaginations are going a million miles an hour and they're not scared to do anything. No one's told them, don't do this, it's dangerous, any of that sort of stuff. They want to go and they want to learn and that's really what the world's about, getting out there and learning what's going on. We have professional developments. We did a Makey class with a number of librarians. I think maybe some of them may be in here. I don't know. No one's going to put their hand up. Okay, there's no problem. We had a professional development class where we explained what a Makey was. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, it's basically a virtual keyboard where you can plug in different real-world items and basically create a circuit where you can launch things on a computer. If you get a chance to, I think the Code Club Australia has a Makey that's on display where they're playing Pac-Man with it. So go down and check it out. This was, again, another really great experience where instead of just learning the theory, we were able to put it into place. You can see everyone on the left-hand side has a mural which would tell their story. And as you would go to different parts of the mural, you would actually trigger it off by touching the mural itself, which would trigger sounds, which would trigger videos. So we use things like Scratch, which was a very basic programming language, to be able to create those experiences. And one of the things I love is people coming back and telling me about how they've actually used this technology or how they've used what they've learned. So one of the beautiful things about this is that I had some students come back. I went and spoke at another library, and one of the people who had come to this came up to me and said, I was in your Makey class. I put the Makey on everything. It's like my whole house has had this Makey experience. My kids go up to the fridge and it says, don't touch it, don't open the fridge. They go plug it into the bath, and when the water gets to a certain level, it triggers off an alarm to say the water's going to overflow. So by teaching these practical skills, some of these students have been able to go on and actually be able to take that and use it in an everyday situation. And a number of libraries have now got, very similar to the movie Big, those the piano that you can dance on, they've been able to use this technology and build different things that have become musical instruments. We were talking about soldering before. Children's soldering classes. I have a personal thing where no one gets hurt. As long as no one gets hurt, we'll keep doing it. We've done this class. We've taught hundreds of children how to solder safely. Again, this is a skill that was very specialized. I learned to solder in my 20s because it was always considered to be something dangerous, something that you couldn't teach a child. Well, these children now have an experience of being able to make a permanent circuit, and that's probably something they won't do every day. But what happens down the track when they do want to put something together or something breaks and they need to fix it? They've had that experience. They've had the same way, again, going back to that driving lesson, that first lesson, that I had to have that first lesson to be able to go, okay, great, now I know how to do it. I've had that experience. Well, we've been able to do that. And you can see the results there are just basically simple LED badges, which the kids get to take home. It's very, very popular. And in fact, this has now evolved to being a permanent workshop at Make Day, and has now gone on to, I've seen other libraries and other events actually running it, so I'm really proud of that.